Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into the pretty dramatic boom and bust cycles of artificial intelligence. And we're going to ask a really big question. Is the AI world we're seeing right now just on a path it has walked before?
Right now, it feels like we're in a total golden age. Or are we? It seems like every single day there's some new, mind-blowing breakthrough with models like LLMs, and the hype is it's off the charts. But this feeling of limitless potential, it isn't exactly new.
So yeah, let's start there, and what feels like an endless summer for AI. The excitement is just palpable, right? And the progress we've seen in just the last few years, it's been absolutely staggering.
Now, at the very heart of all this excitement, you've got large language models, or LLMs. These are the AI systems trained on just incredible amounts of text to understand and generate language that sounds, well, human. And here's the key thing. They aren't just research projects anymore. No way. They're in the products we use every day, they're changing how we work, and honestly, they have completely captured the public's imagination, promising this radically different future.
But, and this is a really big but, if you look back at AI's history, it is not a straight line of progress. Not at all. It's actually filled with these moments of insane hype, which are then followed by periods of, well, deep disappointment. And that's what brings us to the ghosts of AI's past.
And that brings us to this really crucial concept, the AI winter. Now, this isn't just a slowdown, okay? It's more like a deep freeze. It's what happens when the promises get so far ahead of reality that the funding just evaporates. Research stalls out, and the entire field just loses all its momentum.
And when you look at AI's history on a timeline like this, the pattern just jumps right at you. You see a boom back in the 60s, all focused on machine translation. And then it's followed by the first winter. Then, boom, another one in the 80s with these things called expert systems. And guess what? It's followed by another freeze. Every single peak of excitement was eventually met with this valley of disillusionment, which, of course, brings us to today, in what is, by far, the biggest boom yet. Okay, so what exactly causes one of these big chills to hit? Well, it turns out the cycle isn't random at all. In fact, there's a kind of anatomy to the collapse.
Yeah, it has this remarkably consistent three-act structure. First, you get the promise. Researchers making these huge, grand predictions, often saying that human-level intelligence is just around the corner. Then comes the reality, where progress just smacks into a wall because of things like computational limits or problems nobody saw coming. And finally, you get the consequence. The funding evaporates, public interest fades, and the whole thing goes into a deep freeze.
And what's so fascinating is how these triggers create this perfect domino effect, right? The insane hype leads to completely exaggerated expectations. When those expectations aren't met, because, you hit these fundamental technical roadblocks, the funding gets slashed. And then poof, the focus shifts to more practical stuff. It's a total chain reaction. So this quote, while it's not from a real person, it just perfectly captures the feeling from those past eras. It really wasn't just about the money, It was about a total loss of credibility. It's like the well of belief had just run completely dry, which made it almost impossible to get new, ambitious projects off the ground for years to come.
Okay, so let's fast forward to today, because we have to acknowledge that the current AI boom, well, it's operating on a completely different scale. It's just unprecedented.
The amount of money pouring in right now tells the story all by itself. The investment we are seeing today, especially from the private sector, it just dwarfs anything from the 60s or 80s. Seriously, it's not even in the same league. We're talking about a whole different sport. And yet, even with all that unprecedented progress and all that money, if you listen closely, you can start to hear the historical echoes. You can hear the whispers of those past winters in the conversations we are having right now.
And this is where those echoes get really loud. Okay, so in the past, a big challenge was limited computing power. Today, it's the massive energy and data costs. Back then, we had brittle, rule-based systems. Now, we have unexplainable black box models that we don't totally understand. And those unfulfilled promises about perfect translation from the 60s, man, they sound a lot like the hype around artificial general intelligence, or AGI, today. So the challenges look different on the surface, but the underlying patterns, they are strikingly similar.
So, does this mean history is just doomed to repeat itself? Are we heading for another big freeze? Well, maybe not. Let's explore the other side, because there are some really powerful arguments for why this AI boom might just be a different season altogether. So why could this time be different? What makes this boom feel more solid? Well, for starters, we have an unprecedented scale of data, like the entire internet's worth, to train these models. We have this exponential growth in computing power thanks to things like GPUs. We have a global, decentralized research community. But maybe the biggest thing of all, widespread commercial adoption. AI is already creating real-world value, right now. That creates a foundation that it simply didn't exist in the past.
So here's the bottom line. Understanding AI's cyclical nature isn't really about predicting a storm or being pessimistic. It's about learning how to read the weather. It's about being prepared, right? So the real question isn't, is a winter coming? The real question is, are we prepared for a change in season? Have we learned enough from the ghosts of the past to get it right this time?